Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to another edition of Removing That Liberal Blindfold for this Friday, the 8th day of February in the year of our Lord 2019. From Wise Conservatism, the blog, comes this one. On January the 8th of 2008, I did a post on my blog called "The Bell is Not Always Heard." It was true then and so much more true today, so it bears repeating. And this one is one of those subjects that's all about removing the liberal blindfold. This bears repeating because of the bell that is gonging horribly loud with the likes of Ocasio-Cortez, who now has her green plan, which includes rebuilding every building in the United States to make them green so they won't use so much energy. She doesn't seem to realize that 30 years ago they were doing exactly the same thing. And we all laughed at them at that point in time because they were being so silly and so stupid. That doesn't work, and that's something that we have to start realizing here, folks. It doesn't work because they just think we're being rude and dumb ourselves because we think they're being funny. One of the things that people seem to forget is that the warning bell that has been going off for the last several decades about things that are going on with our society and in our country is not something that's always heard, and our representatives in Washington's high places have done what they can to make the constant clanging and the din of warning fade into the background. How, you ask? It is simple. This process that has been used has taken a long time to come to fruition. It started way back in the times that we all look at as the idyllic times of the nation, when people had other things to worry about, like the Cold War and the big bomb dropping out of the sky. Morals were high, and the thought of premarital sex was not thought of as normal as it is today. A woman back then who wasn't married, who was pregnant, was thought of as a slut. Today she is thought of only as an unwed mother. Teenage pregnancies were not common, but today they are. Back then, sex was thought of as something that two people who were in love and married did. Seldom was it done by people who were not married because they were afraid of getting a girl pregnant, or back then most of the girls wouldn't even let you get that far. Sex was taught in the home, and even though we didn't really get sat down to learn about it, we learned enough to make us not really want to do too much before we got married because of the fear of maybe the clap or getting a woman pregnant. But now it is thought of as something that people do for recreation. Abortion on demand is now prevalent. Through the years of the liberal meandering in our lives, we were slowly made to think that the bad things wouldn't happen if we had sex before marriage, something that we are finding out was not the truth. And slowly, the women started to know that they could have sex too. Suddenly, we were having troubles with our morals, as premarital sex was happening all the time, and the clap that we were afraid of when we were kids became something worse, and our morals went farther and farther down the tubes as more and more things that used to be taboo were made to be normal. I remember growing up on the weekends, we kids would go out and play football or hide and seek or something. We would play cowboys and Indians with no one getting offended by the fact we were killing Indians. We played with guns, with toy guns with caps in them so they would make noise. No one really died because we knew it was pretend. If you did something wrong, you got in trouble for it. Now the liberal way of thinking goes, if you do something wrong, you're not wrong. You're only a victim. You are a victim of your circumstances. All I have to say to this PC bullcrap crap is that sure, there are victims, but not everyone is. That is where this politically correct stuff has led us. When we were kids, if we did something wrong, say at school, we got sent to the principal's office, and there we got a few whacks with a belt or a paddle from the principal, but that was not the end of it. The principal, gasp, would call our parents, sometimes with us in the room so we would hear what he had to say. And then when we got home, we found out that the principal of the school had indeed told them, and that folk told them what we had done, and we got in trouble again. The parents sided with the principal. In my day, we were afraid to do things like take guns to school, even toy guns, because we would not only get it at school, but also at home. Even toy guns stayed at home because our fear of punishment, and school was not the place for things like that. And getting it home was always worse. The punishment usually lasted for a while too, because not only will we get a spanking, but we would usually get grounded too. If friends ever came over to play, they would be sent home by our parents after being told what we did and that we were grounded. How humiliating that was. See why most of us turned out good? The humiliation didn't destroy our psyche, it strengthened it. Back at about 1975, I remember some friends of mine who had 2 kids, and hello, Barb. One was the best-mannered little boy you'd ever want to meet. The other was only about 8 months old. Both boys were good and very seldom ever gave their parents any troubles. One night we went to a Kettle restaurant in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I lived at the time, for an evening meal and dessert, and for some reason that night the little boy decided to act up. After taking this for about 20 minutes, the mom, who had it in her rights to do at the time, took the little boy into the bathroom and gave him a spanking. During the spanking, some old biddy, and I use the term loosely, came in and took offense to what my friend was doing and turned her into Child Protective Services. At the hearing for the matter, I spoke, telling the judge that this whole thing about reporting a parent when they were disciplining their kids for acting up was going to backfire on them, because one day the day was going to come when old biddies like the reporting woman, who is not old by the way, would continue to do this until it became illegal to spank your kids. In Indiana, this has already happened. When the kids will become hoodlums because there will be no consequences to their actions, and then we will all start asking ourselves, what happened? All of this has come true. Kids, according to the PC police, are no longer bad. They're only victims. They bring guns to schools and go on murderous rampages, killing people, and everyone is asking, what the heck happened? What happened, people, is the politically correct view that no one is bad. They are only victims of their circumstances. No one deserves to be punished for being bad because they are only acting up in resistance to their situations. This is bullcrap, people. Kids do bad things. People do bad things. There are bad people as well as good people. The only way that kids will learn right from wrong is to be punished for being bad and praised for doing the right things and to be loved. Unfortunately, even the loving part isn't there a lot anymore. A lot of kids grow up with the knowledge that they were a mistake, that they should never have happened. First off, there are some things that should be done with kids of today. They have to be loved unconditionally. They are kids and dependent on us for their upbringing and their goodwill. They have to learn that there is a higher power that is over all of us, whether you believe in God or not. Kids have to know that they are important, not only to you, the parents, but to God also. Kids have to grow up knowing that there are consequences to their actions, good or bad. Hello, Rose. Glad to see you there. And if they do something bad, they will be punished. They also have to know that if they do something good, that they will be praised. That has to go both ways. The liberal establishment of the PC and political police have made it so that there are no consequences to breaking our laws. The illegals are praised as good people who are only victims of their circumstances and in need of our compassion, not to be punished for breaking our laws. The problem with that way of thinking is the PC police also go 180 degrees out of way of thinking when the offender is white, Christian, Republican. And this way of thinking goes all the way to the top of our government. Any conservative in our government is wrong no matter what they do, but liberals are not. Now, before any of you come at me for that statement, there are exceptions to this rule. Hello, Claudia. There are exceptions to this rule. There are Republicans who do wrong and rightfully get in trouble for it. And conversely, there are Democrats who do wrong and get in trouble. But the Democrats only get in trouble if it actually somehow hits the news and the people find out about what they did. If it doesn't, the bad things is going to be hidden from the public and dropped. If it comes in the future, they say that if it comes up in the future, they say that bringing up something that has happened years ago isn't relevant anymore, unless, of course, it has something to do with a Republican. Then they are never called on this. This is something that I have never understood, and I don't understand how they get away with this, but they always do. Look at Hillary Clinton, look at Bill Clinton, look at all the others here. This kind of thinking has got to stop, because if it doesn't, thoughts like this will end up further destroying the fabric of our country. It has already made us apologizers for doing what we do as a nation to keep ourselves safe and sovereign, even though we have apologized for nothing more than any other country in the same situation would do and has done. Can't you see that this has led us down the wrong path? Can't you see that we have to stop this before it completely destroys this nation? Or is that what you liberals want? I think it is. So you see, the bell that tolls is not always heard, though it should be, and it should be heeded. Thank you, Rose and Claudia and Barb, for being here. And I wish to push the facts that the liberal lying lamestream media leaves out, facts that change the story from what is right to what the left wants, which is never right anymore. Truth, justice, and the American way are the continuing casualties of everything that the left stands for, and the American people need to learn that. God bless America, God bless our troops, and as always, we will not be ruled. Have a safe and blessed weekend. See you all on Sunday at 6 p.m. for the NWCR radio show on Blog Talk Radio through Conservative Nation Media. Have a good day.